I shake your head because I'm a businessman. But you, bro.
What?
Don't
You worried I said it's a 50-50?
Don't bet against me.
It's a 50-50.
I ain't never said no 50-50.
Who?
He fighting to get beat. He ain't no fucking 50.
In my opinion,
That's cool.
it's a 50-50.
He let me be that.
That's good.
Don't bet your money on it. Don't bet your fucking money on it. You're all right.
I said if you're the real
Let's
deal,
make a wager.
maybe.
Oh, all right.
No, I hope you win.
You got my DM. You can have my number if you want it.
Oh, you want to bet?
Oh, yeah.
I DM you. Listen, I'm saying, as I said in the media, if you win this fight, you're the real deal.
Oh, all right. You gonna find
All right.
out.
So if you're the real deal, you're gonna win.
I do. You gonna find out.
Let's go.
If Jared was smart, he would have understood that Eddie doesn't have a promotional investment in Martin Bakole. He wasn't just saying it's a 50-50 to get at Jared. He's saying it's a 50-50 fight because he used to promote Martin Bakole from 2018 till around 2020. He had about 6 fights on Matchroom, wherein he was unfairly let go after the Sergei Kuzmin fight. And they were all winning fights. It was Eddie who picked up Bakole shortly after he lost to Michael Hunter in 2018. And it goes to show you, the fact that nobody across the pond picks up these things. They probably underestimate how much Eddie Hearn knows. It's all like a novelty act. This guy with a funny accent, the Cockney accent, and says funny things. Well, no. He knows a lot more than most promoters know about boxers on his roster and not on his roster. Because that's his job. Why do you think he said 50-50? He knows Bakole. How come Bob Arum didn't have the heads up on Bakole? Or Todd Dubois? And I know Jared's not angry. He's having banter with Eddie. I know. But there's a lot of truth in this dialogue. How comes he didn't know more about Martin Bakole? Well, from all accounts, he doesn't really like boxing. He's only doing it for the money. Is he really studying his opposition? Does he not know? While he was in the comfort zone, in his bubble at Top Rank, being developed, Martin was getting pushed from pillar to post when he was released by Matchroom. With that pro-bellum, disrupt boxing situation, up until he got his opportunity on Riyadh season, where last year he gave Carlos Takam a beating. Winner stays on, he's back again. This is a guy who's went through some shit. And when they asked him about what you thought about the event, I'm not here to be a tourist. Paraphrasing, he didn't say that. But he said, I'm not here to smile and joke and watch Jared dance. I'm here to knock out a blood cleat. And then call out names. AJ, Zhang, whoever. This ain't a joke fight. Eddie knew this weren't no joke fight. In the UK, listen, most of the UK picked Bakole to win. They knew this weren't no joke fight. He fought Michael Hunter. 2018. Tough fight. Sergei Kuzmin was ranked when Martin had that controversial decision. Yeah? The reason Eddie let Martin Bakole go is because it was hard to match Martin Bakole and Michael Hunter. He let Michael Hunter go the same year. It was hard to match them because potential opponents were looking at the risk-reward of fighting Michael Hunter and Martin Bakole at the time. Plus, AJ was selling out stadiums, Dillian was selling out the O2, and it was all good on the domestic front for Matchroom. So they were released. Jared Anderson, who got exposed, bring up the E word where applicable. He got exposed by Martin Bakole in 5. He tried to do the go back and forth with Eddie. What are you talking about, Eddie? This is an easy fight. The bling, the shades, the whole cool boy image. Dancing in front of Bakole. Bakole was looking at him like, do you know what's going to happen on Saturday? The fake energy, it's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. Spencer Fearon told Jay Prince that it's not a good move putting Jared in with Martin Bakole. And Jay Prince is an experienced manager in boxing. Works with Shakur Stevenson, Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather, amongst a few. And I think Spencer said Jay Prince laughed it off like Spencer was joking. Teddy Atlas didn't just say that Jared Anderson was going to win. He said it wouldn't be competitive. Now, I did pick Jared Anderson to win. So did another popular UK channel. I won't say the name. And I'm wondering if he picked Jared for the same reasons I picked Jared. Was he thinking, surely America have got a really good representative, Jared Anderson, because after him, who else is there? Nobody. And that actually weighed into my pick. And in hindsight, I fucked up. And I'm trying to save face here, so to speak. I did say I wouldn't be shocked if Bakole won. I did say that. I don't know if I bought into the cheerleading across the pond, but I just expected a little more. I thought he'd be using his feet way more effectively. And Sugar Hill, if Sugar Hill had him out there brawling like that, but I can't say too much on that. They haven't been together that long. That's why it was very dodgy taking that fight, a difficult fight like that. But maybe they didn't think it was difficult, but a dodgy fight like that with a new coach. I'm just wondering, were there many people like Teddy Atlas who said Bakole didn't have a chance? There probably was, you know. And I can't help thinking that America either didn't know who Bakole was, underestimated him, and didn't care. They just saw, he's not American, we don't know him, Jared Anderson is going to blast him out in a couple of rounds. But they're overlooking a lot of things like happening currently in boxing. This was not an ordinary top-ranked card that Jared Anderson has headlined. I mean, he struggled against Charles Martin, did Jared. And Charles, you know, no disrespect, he's not as good as Martin Bakole. This is a Saudi card, a Riyadh season card. The only difference between that card and what happens in Riyadh season is this one was in LA. This is a Riyadh season card. This is the Saudi bag that has exposed Andy Ruiz just on the weekend, Jarrell Miller last time out, Deontay Wilder twice, Frank Sanchez. Yeah, that bag. That bag there. If Jay Prince, and listen, he might not be a trainer, but it's his investment. The management have to do their due diligence in the matchmaking and know who their charge is getting in the ring with just as much as the trainer. Now, I'm sure Sugar Hill knew who Martin Bakole was because he's worked a lot in the UK with Tyson Fury. Big red flag is hooking up with Sugar Hill just before this really important fight. Coming off two very unimpressive performances. Mary, the Belgium guy, last time out, went 10. It was unimpressive. And pardon me, there was the Rudenko performance. I mean, Rudenko took him 5. Before that, it was Charles Martin, where he was hurt a couple of times and ran out of ideas, but got a points win. And it's all very patchwork quality. Yeah, let's bring Sugar Hill in. You've got the same coach as Tyson Fury. It's really going to make a difference. Jared hasn't done shit. And I do believe he is a product of America, where they're just looking sloppy recently. Like, Andy Ruiz, yeah, Mexican. No, he's American, right? Him, Wilder, Miller, and Jared have all been on Riyadh season and have looked like ass. All looked unprepared. All looked like they came there for the bag. What, coincidence? Or mediocrity? I'm wondering if Deontay Wilder and Malik Scott really knew who Zhilei Zhang was. Thinking about it now. How do you take that fight after coming off a loss with Joseph Parker and the previous inactivity? The bag. The bag. You know, then you add to that, you're going into this fight, an important fight. People are telling you it's important, but America, you know, Teddy Atlas didn't know he was. Teddy Atlas reports on boxing every week. And he came to the conclusion that it wouldn't be competitive. He's probably never seen Martin Bakole fight. He's probably not really studying who is who in the heavyweight division. Add to that, like I was saying, he was saying he didn't want to box the other month. And now all of a sudden, you're on Riyadh season cards where it's winner stays on, do or die. If this guy's got psychological issues, you got no business fighting on Riyadh season. You know, people were bringing up Bakole's loss to Michael Hunter. How long ago was that? That's ages ago. How much fights has he won on the bounce since? And then, you know, like I said, this sudden change of trainers with Sugar Hill. Do you know how long Martin Bakole has been with Billy Nelson up there in Scotland? Ages. Yeah, Jay Prince, let me keep it real. The management should know more than the fucking trainer about who is who. But when I ask management about potential opponents' records in the top 10, you should be able to break it down immediately. You should be a walking box wreck. And Billy's been on the circuit a minute, up there in Scotland with Alex Arthur. I remember Billy. He worked with Scott Harrison, Ricky Burns. They've probably been together 10 years, Bakole and Nelson. So while Billy doesn't have this reputation of being one of the top coaches, him and Martin are in a routine. And they certainly came prepared with them fucking uppercuts, didn't they? Nearly took Jared's head off. Bob Arum talking about, we'll bring back Jared Anderson better than ever. Daniel Dubois, similar age, had a couple of setbacks. But I don't think Daniel was ever as deluded as Jared. I don't believe so. And I think when Tyson Fury went over there and sparred with him and told him he's the heir to his throne, that's what Tyson Fury told him. And apparently he did pretty well in them sparring sessions. That's gassed his head up, man. Like, yo, listen, Tyson Fury is a good fighter. He's a good fighter, but there's lots of good fighters in the heavyweight division. Yeah?
America!
It's not a good breeding ground for heavyweights right now. This is the same country that were threatening to toss the Klitschko's out while they were champions. Took a couple of their fights off the main broadcasters, Showtime and HBO at the time. And they had all the belts. The Klitschko's had all the belts. But all you would hear, oh, they ain't fought no one, they ain't shit, they can't fight, they're boring. You're saying all that, but you're not producing anyone who can give them a decent challenge. Basically, the American media and the networks, when they started dismissing the Klitschko's, they put their own noose around their neck in the heavyweight weight class. Because now, they're not even concentrating on getting an American heavyweight to dethrone them. They just want to get rid of them, leaving the door open for Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. And obviously, Alexander Usyk. Although, you know, they'll talk shit about Tyson Fury's and this and that. They'll talk shit that AJ ducked Deontay Wilder, not. And that Wilder's a better fighter than AJ, not. They even said that Wilder was better than the Klitschko's, not. And their delusion has brought them to this point here. They're not grounded in any pragmatic self-analysis of what the American heavyweight division is. It's totally deluded, and it has been for a long time. And I've been pointing this out before Tyson Fury won titles and before Anthony Joshua won titles. But the thing is the self-entitlement and the self-praise that a lot of American fighters today have for themselves without doing shit is incredible.
You look at this fight and you start to say, oh, it could be too soon. He's 24, heavyweights mature later. Possibly, but then again, you saw the fights where he was showing these flaws and no improvements were made. I think it's a possibility that we've seen the ceiling of Jared Anderson. And in seeing that ceiling, the Bakole fight exposed that. It's yet another fight. He didn't make the improvements necessary. Only this time, it was a guy who was even better than Charles Martin at this point in his career and knocked him out. He just didn't make any adjustments. Didn't look like he knew how to make the adjustments. Bakole is a guy who held his ground, knew how to keep his positioning. There's different ways, deceptive ways you can do things to, make him pick up his feet a little bit, to change range a little bit. Instead, he chose to fight this guy off of him, which he's way too small to do that. So if you're going to be too...
Now, let me break some boxing science down to those who said it was an exciting fight. Yeah, it was a good fight to look at. But they attributed that to Jared Anderson, like, yo, look at that, man, trading bombs. At least he was trading, wasn't running, holding, and hitting like them other cowardly heavyweights, whoever they want to address that to. Gun shy. He traded because he had no other skills to bring to the gunfight. Like Paulie said, he didn't have the ability to make the 284-pound opponent have to pick up his feet, reset and turn, which would cause Martin issues. He couldn't do that. So yeah, he was in there, and as exciting as that was, he did it because he couldn't do nothing else. The only one executing their game plan in that ring was Martin Bakole. Learn boxing. Terence Crawford became a 4-weight champ. Great achievement, but many are saying Martin Bakole stole the show, and he did. He was developing a bit of a reputation as a sparring snitch for snitching on sparring sessions, and it's his word against anyone who disbelieves him. But now, when he's calling out names, AJ, Zhang, Fury, he'll be taken a little more serious. And Billy Nelson will be taken a little more serious now. He was talking about getting the winner of Fury versus Usyk, but he's not going to get that fight ahead of AJ. Or the Michael Hunter rematch. He lost to Hunter in 2018. I don't think that fight's that relevant anymore. I don't see Michael Hunter winning that fight now. Michael Hunter has regressed since that time. He's no longer with Hasim Rahman. And that, along with being released from Matchroom, he doesn't look like the same fighter anymore. Doesn't look like the same fighter. He won some fight in Europe the other day, and before that, he lost the 10-rounder which was an exhibition apparently, but he looked lousy in that. But the loss doesn't officially go on his record. Lucky to get a draw against Jerry Forrest. Well, you could argue Zhilei Zhang was lucky to get a draw against Jerry Forrest. He's just not that guy no more. But if they're going to pay Martin good money to take it, yeah, he should take that fight. Why not? Bakole said him and his coach, Billy Nelson, had it planned that he switches a lot. And as soon as he switches, Martin said he'd land a big right or an uppercut.
Yo, hit him with an uppercut.
They had it planned. He said Anderson is tough. He knew he'd come to fight, and that was his mistake. Said Martin said he's a big heavyweight and he can take punches for 12 rounds, no problem. And he said he should have boxed me. That's what he said, he should have boxed me. And yeah, of course he should have boxed way more, but he didn't have the skills. He didn't, I mean, like, he had the cheerleaders in his ear that he's the heir to the throne, that he can beat these former unified champions who have way superior resumes to him. After watching him struggle with Charles Martin and then struggle with the Belgium guy after, they were still like, yeah, we'll just take these fights with these dangerous top 10 heavyweights. You know what I mean? Like, dumb shit, man. And, you know, Bob Arum, you're going to bring him back bigger and better than ever. We'll see. You know, and I know a lot of people, if he beats, it's only one loss. Yeah, of course it's only one loss. But it's different. You've got this kid who thinks he's top dog, posturing like he's a great fighter, saying a lot of shit. And the first time he fights a genuine top 10 heavy, he crumbles. It's a little different. And Paulie himself said, after he lost, and he got paid a good purse, whatever it was, he didn't seem that devastated or broken up about it. Hey, if he don't want to box, that's up to him. If he's doing it for the money, do it for the money. But there's a price to pay for that. And that's getting the brakes beaten off you if you don't improve. You've got to want to improve. You've got to want to box, whether you like it or not. If you want to avoid the beatings, you got to learn your craft.
New contender, take your seating or take a beating.
And honestly, I thought he was way too accepting of the loss after the fight. For a guy who just took his first L and basically was exposed as probably a bit overhyped, he wasn't devastated. He wasn't even anywhere near that. He was like, whatever. You know, he's smiling after the fight. He was probably happy he got his check, which I heard was a hefty sum.
The next check will not be so big. He might be back on Riyadh season. It's only one loss. Riyadh season is the worst place for him because it's going to be a sink or swim fight with another guy who wants to stay on. When this kid, Jared, he needs to develop, but, you know, he himself, he's all about the money, isn't it? Just money, you know, you're boxing for money. So they'll pitch you in, no problem, cash you out, unless he can turn it around. If he's serious, he's probably about 4 or 5 fights away from fighting top 10 opponents. But business is business. Billy Nelson said that Turki Al-Sheikh is not looking at the Michael Hunter fight, and he shouldn't either. Michael Hunter's form and activity isn't where it needs to be. They're talking about Zhang next. Now, Zhang versus Bakole, you know what I mean, is not mainstream, although there'll be mainstream trickling in when they find out that the hardcores, the so-called hardcores, are going absolutely nuts about that fight. They're going to be going absolute nuts. Once that's announced, they're going to be going nuts. Now, if you're not a hardcore boxing fanboy, fangirl, then you won't understand. You know what I mean? You're out of the loop in this conversation. But for us, that fight is like,
I need it. I want it.